It's tilted down too far. Oh, it's so like dark and grainy. Let me fix that. Hang on. Let me turn that up. It's a little bit better. It's a little bit better. Hey guys, how's everybody doing? Tell me. Okay, tell me who's watching and where you are, and how's your weather? Because I always start off my conversations with weather. Oh, from Florida and Ohio. How is it? How is your weather? That's what I want to know. Mine is, I'm looking right now. I don't know why I always start off with weather. It's pretty funny. My hair, I'm a little wind blown. It's a little bit windy outside. Texas, hot. It's 83 here. It says it feels like 93, but it doesn't really feel like 93. Missouri, oh my gosh. Yes, my stepkids, we just picked them up from Missouri. Well, we didn't go to Missouri. We meet in Iowa, but they live in Missouri with their mom. And they got here and they were like, oh, it's so much cooler here. It's like, yeah, it's a lot cooler here. Hi, Julia from Germany. I saw the Sean Baker interview with you. Thank you very much. Hi, Deborah. Raining. It's actually supposed to rain here tomorrow for a couple hours, I think. Hello, Briar Rose. Yes, happy 4th of July. Are you guys going to go out and watch and or do fireworks? That's the word. There's a word. East Texas. Yeah, hot. Yep. I'm good. I'm good. I'm going to pull back my hair. It's a little crazy. Hey, Neely. How are you? Happy Independence Day to everybody in the chat. I love that. Oh, there's a firework emoji. How do I not know this? Wow. Happy 4th, baking Hawaiian bread. Oh, so speaking of the Hawaiian bread, we're always trying to keep those Hawaiian sweet rolls from falling because they always fall. Today, I added 2 tablespoons of whole egg powder to the original, like, regular recipe, except for I got rid of the xanthan gum. That doesn't exist in my world anymore. I also haven't been doing the gelatin either, just because I haven't. But I added 2 tablespoons of whole egg powder and then 2 teaspoons of oat fiber. And so far it hasn't fallen. So we'll see how that works. I need to try. I'll probably keep trying it. But you could add a little bit. Neely actually said she was trying to add the powders, more of those, because it seemed to stabilize it better. So I was like, oh, okay, so leave everything the same and then just add a few powders to see what happens. So far, I like it. Julia says, I have a question. Did you have any iodine detox symptoms? Yes. Did your skin get worse? My poor husband's iodine detox symptoms were nasty. He went up too fast and the electrolytes that he was drinking were not enough. So his resting heart rate jumped up to 130 beats a minute for a little over 2 weeks. So he'd be laying in bed trying to go to sleep and his heart would be pounding out of his chest. And that apparently is one of the side effects of the bromide detox, because your body is too full of bromide. And so it speeds up your everything to try to get rid of it faster, to get it down to your kidneys faster to be processed out. So, but the amount of detox symptoms, it's extensive. I think that there's like 4 different pages in the iodine crisis of detox symptoms. So making sure that you keep up with the salt loading protocol, actually the way that it's presented in the book, not just drinking electrolytes and not just oversalting your food, but actually doing the salt loading protocol is very important. So if you haven't read the iodine crisis, go read the iodine crisis before you go any further. I would back off. If you are having any symptoms whatsoever, you need to go way back down, and then you need to start salt loading and then go up very slowly. Let me see. Hi from the Netherlands. Oh, is it nice there? I'm staying home. I can see fireworks from here, but when we get them so often here, I usually ignore them. Yeah, that's what the kids' mom was saying when we picked him up, that there had been fireworks like all week long. Like they were just going crazy. I'll have to try that low carb spin channel, add in an egg wash on top, and they don't fall. Oh, nice. I wonder if that's why I've had pounding heart sometimes. It could be. The detox of bromide affects people so differently. Like it really changes for every person, because I didn't really have a whole lot of detox symptoms. I gained weight. And so, but other than that, he had the heart ones. I've had people that have had really itchy rashes and problems with their skin and migraines and joint pain and just so many different things that it could be. Depression, anxiety, panic attacks. Those are all detox symptoms of the bromide. So going up too fast in your iodine can affect every single one of those things. So if all of a sudden you're a lot more anxious and you are having panic attacks, or you're really depressed and you can't figure out why, it could be the bromide detox. A lot of it actually ends up being mental. So, Allie, really? My audio and video are intermittent every 2 seconds. Fantastic. Sounds about right. I think everyone's offline. No. Someone's playing the PS4, but I think it's a disc. So I'll text somebody.
PS4.
Okay.
Otherwise it stays connected.
Hang on. I'm texting a person.
Sit down with the Xbox, remember? It stays connected 24/7.
Okay. Okay. Sorry. So live feed. Okay. I can hear you just fine. All good. Okay. I can make the kids get off or do something. It's fine. Hi, Lindsay. I'm just listening, been watching Swiss Family Robinson, and I'm not back to some chores. I love Swiss Family Robinson. I haven't seen that in so long. Okay. Can you talk about the 20% iodine and how you first started taking it? So what I did, and what I did, I don't think I did right. I jumped up too fast and I was not quite ready. So I recommend what people do is you start with the 2%. And this is on Amazon, or you can probably get it a bunch of other places as well. So this is the 2%, the J. Crow's Lugol's solution, 2%. There will be some people who will tell you that they like the Nescant iodine better. I like this better, or like Lugol's better, because it is a combination of iodine and iodide. Different parts of your body need different forms of the iodine, and your body is capable of making those conversions and turning it into what it needs. But if you're already very deficient, your body is already compromised and it's already struggling, I like giving it what it can use in that form right away. So I think that the Nescant maybe would be good like once you've reached your iodine saturation levels, once you are replenished, then you could do the Nescant. I don't even know if I'm saying that right, but you could do that later, because then your body can still make the conversions and then get it where it needs to be. That's why I like the Lugol solution, because it's both iodine and iodide. But what I suggest that everyone does is you start with 2 to 3 drops of 2%. And every week or every 2 weeks, you can go up by 1 drop. This is a very slow process. And while you are going up, you are going to do salt loading. And a lot of people who do the salt loading while they're going up on their dose don't end up having a lot of problems, and they don't have to continue the salt loading once they've reached their preferred dosage. But it just takes time. So what you're going to want to do is start with a couple of drops of these. And there is a calculator. It is called, it's dropulator.com. So I'm going to pull it up real quick. dropulator.com, and it pops up like this. So you can put in what percentage you have, how many drops it is, and then it shows you how many milligrams you are ending up with of your iodine. So of the 2%, this guy right here, we're going to start with 3 drops. So that's going to give you 7.5 milligrams of total iodine. 3 of it is going to be iodine, and 4.5 is going to be iodide. So you're going to keep going up. So you're going to go to 4 drops, gives you 10 milligrams. You're going to go till about 8 drops. So for every 8 drops of this, you can exchange for 1 drop of the 20%. The 20% isn't actually like 20 milligrams, but you can plug it in here. So if I go up to percent strength, I go to 20 very slowly. And then I go down to 1 drop, and it's 25 milligrams. So I would say, go to your 8 drops. And then the next time that you go to increase, instead of going to 9 drops, go ahead and switch to 1 drop of the 20%. And then you're going to continue. You're going to do 1 drop of the 20% and 1 drop of these. And then you're going to keep going up. So what I recommend that people do is you go up and you increase your dose until you get relief of symptoms, or you get that boing of super energy. And it's like the first time you were ever in ketosis. It is mega energy. It hits you like a freaking superpower, and you can think clearly. Everything works better. And you're just like, holy cow, this is amazing. That will stop after a couple of days. And then you can make the decision. Are you going to go up again, or are you going to stay where you are? It really depends, because usually people get the boing a little bit lower and then it goes away and then they raise their dosage again. So I know people who are on mega doses of the 20%. I know people who cannot handle even 1 drop of the 20%. Everybody's dose is different. So you figuring out what works for you, use the Dropulator calculator, dropulator.com, to help you figure out what is going to work best for your body. Because some people find amazing relief with just 1 drop of the 20%. But if you jump up to that, bad things can happen with the bromide detox. So be careful and be easy. I heard Thomas, as we talked about you on Emily's Saturday meeting. All praises for you. Thank you. I had to go pick up the kids from Iowa. So I drive down there, pick up the kids, and then drive back. So it's an extremely long day. That's why I wasn't there, because normally I am absolutely there in Emily's meetings. Let me see, catching back up. Okay, so that was the 20% iodine and how I first started taking it. Work your way up. I am boggled by ground beef recipes lately. My meatballs rendered out so much fat. They must have had half the fat Chronometer wants to credit them with. I completely understand. That's actually one of the reasons that I track my food. I weigh my food after it's cooked, because I think it's more accurate. But most of the ground beef, I track it all as like 93%, because so much of the fat comes out of it. I agree with you. I think that it's kind of interesting like that. Happy Sunday from Roseville. Oh, I'm so glad you've been loving the egg coffee. That's awesome. I noticed I'm healing faster since I started the iodine. Is that a thing? Yes. Iodine for some people makes all the difference in the world, and they don't ever have to change their diet because iodine is that big of a factor for them. And then for other people, it's not doing a whole lot. So we're all just so individual. It's very interesting. Okay, iodoral tablets have both types of iodine too. Yes, iodoral tablets. I do have the iodoral tablets. I actually travel with those because I am so afraid to take one of these bottles with me and have it get smashed or dropped or something or leak. Like the one I have downstairs, the label is completely purple because it leaked when it was shipped over to us. So I do the iodoral tablets when I travel. I would rather just be safer than sorry. So that's what I do too. I like the iodoral tablets. Iodoral or iodoral? I don't know which one it is. It's probably iodoral. I've used Lugol's before and expect to order it again after I finish the Iodine book. How do you know that you are taking enough? I don't feel any mood changes, just body changes. Most people will get that boing. Like it is super energy, power, clarity, thinking. It'll hit you pretty strong. And there's no question that you have gotten it. And it can take a little while to get there. For some people, they don't get it until they're at like 100 milligrams a day, and then they will get that point. So you just kind of gotta go with it and see what happens. How do you know you were how do you I'm confused. Joy says, I'm confused about the eating window. Does it mean you can eat as often as you need during the window, even if it's only 2 to 3 hours later, as long as you're hitting your macros for the day? It depends on what protocol you are doing. It really depends on which protocol you're doing. So Joy, if you can give me a little bit more info, are you doing Dr. Boz? Are you doing carnivore without, like a higher protein? So I need a little bit more. Okay, Dr. Boz. So for Dr. Boz, it depends on how long you've been doing it. What you want to do, and I left my continuum downstairs. I should have grabbed it. That's okay. What you're going to want to do is the first 4 phases, the first 4 continuums, you're going to want to take 4 to 6 weeks to get through those continuums. This is not a fast process. It is a very slow and steady process. So the first continuum is I eat every 2 to 3 hours. That is what the continuum actually says. I've got it in here. I love that fridge magnet. What, baby? Oh, thank you very much. My husband's going to fetch it for me. You're at step 5. Okay. So question is, how long did it take you to get to step 5? Because all of us should start back at step 1. Even if we came from carnivore, even if we came from keto before, I recommend that you go back to step 1. Just go back to step 1, even if you're only there for a few days. And even Dr. Boz says that. 16 months on Dr. Boz's. Okay. So I'm going to keep explaining this a little bit just so that everyone else understands it. So the first continuum is I eat every 2 to 4 hours. And this is where switching over your chemistry, you want to go slowly. And no on keto. So generally when you're eating every 2 to 4 hours, it's because you're fueled on glucose or you're eating too much protein. And because of the too much protein, you're still running on glucose, which is why thank you, my love, which is why a lot of higher protein carnivores are finding that their blood sugar numbers are elevated in the morning, which is why their blood sugar numbers are going up, because your body is turning that protein into glucose. And that is what you are burning, which is why a lot of carnivores will take their numbers and they're barely making any ketones. What is in the way? Something is in the way of my book. Your numbers are good. Okay. What is in the way? I don't know what's in the way. It's really annoying. So you're gonna want to lower down your protein to be able to get your numbers lower. But this is going to take quite a while to get there. It should take quite a while to get there. So I'll just hold that up. Oh, maybe. There you go. So you guys can take a screenshot of this so that you can see what all of the continuums are. Okay, that's probably good. Hopefully everyone got a screenshot of that. How do you know that you are, nope. Okay. I'm confused about the eating window. Does it mean you can eat as often as you need to during that window, even if it's only 2 to 3 hours later? Okay. Yes. Now I have more to go off of for your question. That is exactly what that means. If you said that you're a number 5. So she's on number 5. Continuum number 5 is a 16-8. So in 16-8, you eat all food, snacks, and supplements in an 8-hour window. No eating, snacking, or chewing for 16 hours. You can literally eat for the entire 8 hours. Every moment of that 8 hours. Every 3 minutes, you could put another piece of food into your face. That counts as long as everything is in that 8 hours to get you to your calories. And there's some people that have had gastric bypass, and they're going to have to do that. They're going to have to eat literally every 30 minutes, a little bit every 30 minutes in that 8-hour window, because they have such a small stomach. That's the only way that they're ever going to get all their fat in, or they don't digest the fat well, so it gives them the runs. So they have to do tiny little bits spread out over a longer time. So yes, that is your answer, Joy. Sorry, it took me a little while to get there. Now I have all the information. Let me see. Perfect. Awesome. Jennifer says, starting high fat, triple B and E, no dairy because everything is messing with my gut. Tried your fatty coffee today. Thanks to your suggestion. Really don't miss the heavy cream. Isn't that fantastic? Like, I wish I could have heavy cream, but it does not love me. It really kind of stinks, but that's okay. Julie says, thank you so much for the wonderful explanation. Enjoying all your videos. Oh, you're very welcome. Ayana, hi. How are you? You're devouring Robert Sykes' book. I'm following his contest prep keto bodybuilding guide. On phase 1, the fat is 80%, but as I go through the phases, he adjusts macros. Very interesting. That is really cool. I remember someone on YouTube, I made mention of Thomas DeLauer, and someone else was like, Sykes literally wrote the book on keto bodybuilding. I was like, oh, see, there you go. Good to know. So I'm glad that you found the book and that you are enjoying it. Lori says, hello, I'm sunbathing and listening. Love these Sunday lives. Oh, I'm jealous. I would be outside in the sun, but my signal is so something. Yeah. I'm having sardines and smoked herring today. I got some iodine to get some iodine in. Haven't pulled the trigger on the drops yet, but I use daily minerals and Relight hydration gel caps with iodine. Yep. That's going to be a really good warm up for your iodine, because I do believe that those all have micrograms. It's just a small amount. It's getting your body used to it. You're beginning to knock off some of the bromide from your iodine receptors. So you're starting really slow. So that's absolutely perfect. Yeah, I was OMAD in carnivore, so it's been an adjustment to eat smaller meals more often again. Yeah. And I've only been doing this, 4 weeks? So I am still up here. I'm probably at number, it's 2 or 3. Because I'm still doing the fatty coffees. I do the fatty coffees in the morning, and then I eat one meal. But because I'm doing those fatty coffees, I can't call it OMAD, because those technically the calories are going into my body. So that doesn't count. And I'm less than 20 total carbs every day. No questions asked. Even with the allulose or the swerve or whatever else I may be using, it's still 20 or total less carbs or less. I accidentally missed a meal. I can absolutely do that. I just don't, because my fatty coffees are giving me such fantastic numbers. I'm staying with them. I'm going to continue doing my fatty coffees. I'm going to continue doing my bedtime tea. I'm going to continue eating my one main meal. And then if I want some waffles later or anything, then I will do that. And so far I've been able to maintain ketosis beautifully with doing the super high fat continual. It's almost like a drip, like an IV drip of fat coming into my system that my body can just take and make these ketones abundantly. So my blood sugars aren't rising. My ketone production is up quite a bit. My pain levels are really reduced, which is fantastic. So that's what I'm doing. Nobody has to, switch over to keto high fat and then jump their fat way up and keep everything in one meal. It'll happen naturally. So I strongly suggest that you just go back to level 1. Go back to eating every single time you're a little bit hungry, you're a little bit snacky, you're a little bit craving. Go get some butter. Go get some coconut oil. Make some little fat bombs with coconut oil and butter and put some chocolate in it. Be careful with those sweeteners. The erythritol and the allulose that we were all making all those fat bombs with all that time ago, we're counting total carbs, not net. So you have to count every single one of the carbs that those come with. So I suggest switching over to like a stevia, reducing the sweeteners, but use those fat bombs. Like go back to using the fat bombs, the fatty drinks, all of those kinds of things. Those are fantastic. Half forward. What's up? That's what I'm calling you Ford. Unless you tell me to call you something else. That's what I'm calling you. Let me see. The chart looks like a lot of rules. So the thing about the chart is it is a roadmap. It tells you exactly how to shift your chemistry to get your body into a state of healing. Now, for people like me who have a lot of problems, and I just announced a lot of my problems, we need structure. We need a roadmap and we need rules, because I am not doing this for body recomp. I'm not doing this for weight loss. I am not doing this for anything other than healing, because I just put out a video the other day. I have a crap ton of stuff that is wrong with me is on my list right here. These are the highlights. So the highlights are, I have 4 times as much H. pylori in my system as I should have, which honestly, I mean, it could definitely be worse, but I do have an overgrowth of H. pylori. And I also have blood in my stool, and a decent amount. So that could be, I have a friend, they called Chevy Ford. It could be from the H. pylori. It could be from some things. So we'll see. What, baby?
Chevy Ford, Postman.
Chevy Ford. Oh, yes. Ford Lincoln Mercury.
I know.
Ford Lincoln. I don't know if you've seen the Postman. Yeah, Ford Lincoln Mercury. Anyways. So this chart comes with a little book. The book has all of this information in it. It's the good, better, and best foods that Dr. Boz recommends. It's a little old, so there's some stuff on here like spinach. I wouldn't recommend the spinach part of that. But so it comes with a little booklet, and then this is a 2-sided magnet. You can put either side sticking out on your fridge. And this is the continuums. Dr. Boz sells this on her website. It comes with this, and the little booklet's like $25. And the shipping was free. So I ordered this so that I could have this to show you guys. I keep it up on my fridge so that I can even look and refresh. But yeah, there's some stuff on here I wouldn't recommend. And it's all going to be individualized anyways, because if you can handle oxalates, then sure, knock yourself out with the spinach. If you can't, go with butter lettuce. That would be a better option. Anyways, this. So I have the blood in my stool, which could be from the H. pylori. It could be something else. I don't know. I have to go see a gastroenterologist to figure that out. I have 2 forms of Lyme disease. I have Epstein-Barr, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7 co-infections with the Lyme. I'm not doing this for weight loss. I'm not doing this for body recomposition. I am doing this for health, because when I did my interview with Dr. Boz, she said it doesn't really matter what the diagnosis is, the treatment is the same. Getting into a deeper state of ketosis fights cancer. It can't always fight cancer alone, but it does. So it's going to fight all these other things. I am in immune activating ketosis on a daily basis. So I'm going to keep doing the fatty coffees. I'm going to keep doing the fatty tea. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing because right now it's working. I am going to continue. It does not fight all cancer. There are a few cancers that actually can live on glutathione, and they can live on some amino acids, which is one of the reasons that reducing the amount of protein that you are taking in still can help. And there are some forms of cancer that are very resistant to it. Cancer can eventually learn how to run on ketones. So there's a point in time where you have to, exactly, there's always a nuance. No one size fits all, but many people find, and they've actually done lab tests to show that if they take cancer and they throw ketones at it, the cancer will die. It will shrivel up and a bunch of it will die. So for some people, it's enough. For other people, they have to add it to things like chemotherapy and whatnot. But that's why I am doing this, and I need a roadmap. I need to know exactly how to do it, when to do it, why to do it. So it may look like a lot of rules, but for some people, that's exactly what they need. Let me see. I have one of those on my fridge. Dr. Boz gifted them to us when she spoke on the low carb cruise. Oh, that is so cool. Yeah, I love it. Happy Sunday, Pamela. I'm an outsider with the family in the sun out by the fire pit, sitting on the hammock, bare feet in the grass. I need to find a place to put up my hammock, but I think it would be in Tickville. I don't want to go to Tickville. Oh, well. So sad. That's okay. Been in the sun and grounding a ton. I'm a little pink. Put coconut oil on your skin. But I use that as sunblock. I put coconut oil on, and then you sit outside in the sun for 5 minutes. Then the next day you go out for 10 minutes, and then the next day you go out for like 15 minutes, and then you just slowly build up your your body's ability to handle the sun, and then like we don't burn ever. Toyota Tundra fam. That's funny. What do you think caused all your problems? So the Lyme and the co-infections would be from the tick bites. But the H. pylori, there's almost everybody has H. pylori, honestly. It's just whether or not you have an overgrowth. So that can come from an unbalanced diet, from you eating things that your body isn't handling well. Come to find out, I shouldn't be doing balsamic vinegar, apple cider vinegar, or HCl at all because it can cause the H. pylori to explode. I was like, I don't like apple cider vinegar, not a big fan of it. But balsamic vinegar, I've really been enjoying the salads. So I have said before that I don't think that carnivore is a good fit for me. I think my body was very unhappy with it. That's where I think a lot of my autoimmune conditions were triggered from too much protein with doing just strict carnivore. It's a very unpopular opinion. A lot of people disagree with me, and I have people that are coming out and they're like, well, you just didn't do it right. You can say that all you want. I know that I got sick when I did the carnivore, the higher protein. So I'm going to believe what I believe, and I could be wrong, but it's my body and my life, so I get to decide. Right? Let me see. She also has a tiny book that you can give to friends who are keto curious. Yes, and it has, if it's the same one, but it has all the good, better, best for fats and meats and all that kind of stuff on it. Like I said, there's a couple things on there that I go, not for me. Thank you. On page 247 of the Keto Continuum, at the bottom of the page, Dr. Bod says, I tell my patients not to count these carbs. Has she changed her view on this? I don't have the physical book of Keto Continuum. What carbs are they? And I honestly tell people I want you to count every single carb. I want you to count the allulose, because I work with some people that the only carb that they are over consuming and not counting is allulose, and they are having problems. So when they cut down the allulose and they actually start counting total carbs, all of a sudden their joint pain has reduced, because come to find out, they're a little sensitive to corn, and allulose is made from corn. So I don't know what is on that list, because I have the workbook, but there's a book. The Keto Continuum, I only have the audio book. So please tell me which ones are in there, and I'll tell you. Yeah, exactly. And she always says, follow your numbers. She was like, if what you're doing, if you're getting good numbers, then sure, keep all that stuff in. If if you're not, then don't. I'm just more of a fan of with the sweeteners. They can be such a trigger. People get so addicted to them and they don't even realize it. And Dr. Boz even says with the sweeteners, you need to get off of them. Like, get away from them as much as possible. That is the ideal situation because you don't want your body to be addicted to those sweet tastes. So if anyone wants to tell me what that list is, I'm curious. Let me see. I love the Continuum. It's a wonderful guide. It was, okay, there I am. Was it from eating too many carbs or just the wrong foods for your body? Just wondering. Yeah, I think it was the wrong foods for my body. I think it was trying to force myself to do really well on high protein. And I didn't, because in all reality, the really high protein did turn into carbs for me. It wasn't any better for me, unfortunately. Just got here. Hello. To watch the replay. Yeah, that's okay. I love having a step-by-step guide. I'm using this to control blood sugar. If I lose a few pounds, it won't hurt my feelings. Right? Exactly. I'm an oxalate. I'm anti-oxalate because of kidney stones. I can't eat spinach. Yeah, there's some things on there that I'm like, I don't agree with that. Individualize it. Pick from this list what you can and can't handle. Which of Dr. Boz's books would be best to start with? It depends. If you want the outline of how to do the continuums, you want to understand things like, why are my blood sugar numbers higher in the morning, and how to make this work living in a world with other humans where you can't always just have your own food and only worry about you. You have to incorporate other people and their eating habits into your life as well. Then the keto continuum would absolutely be the best for that. If you want to understand why keto should be considered by almost everybody, then I would say any way you can. And the reason for that is it goes more into the science behind and why Dr. Boz can recommend getting into ketosis, how she found it, and why she doesn't think that it's another one of these, we're being, paid off by big pharma. We don't want you to really say this. She got most of her starting information on ketosis through the DOD. The DOD is not bought and paid for by big pharma. Like, the VA healthcare system is a mess. That's a different story. But the DOD is using this in different ways. So it's absolutely, oh, Wendy, you're so sweet. What, baby?
VA's doing research on it.
Oh, yeah, he said that the VA is starting to do research on ketosis, though.
PTSD.
So, for PTSD, they're starting to try to use that. And then Navy SEALs, they have found that they were starting with the rebreathers. They were starting to get seizures. So they tried anti-seizure medications and they ended up with stupid Navy SEALs. Like, I say this with all love in my heart, but they couldn't figure out how to put a 5-year-old's puzzle together. Like, it was seriously suppressing their mental everything. So then they figured out when they just put them into ketosis, including exogenous ketones, the seizures stopped. So, but yeah, there's lots of different options for the books. Like, I think that they're both amazing in their own way. I love getting the whole picture from start to finish. Start to finish would be Any Way You Can, and then Keto Continuum after that. Let me see. Yeah, I love that chart. Best skin recovery, by the way, is Greek yogurt. I didn't believe it until I tried it. Interesting. Greek yogurt for like sunburns? Huh. Just very interesting. Let me see. I spent a good 20 minutes in the sun with my bare feet in the grass. I did really good for a couple of weeks. And then now that the kids are back, I'm like, I don't have time for that. I need to go get my butt outside. For the sunburn. Fantastic. Yeah. So Greek yogurt. I did not know that. It's very interesting. Oh, and the carbs in coffee, if you do not get any of the dregs in the coffee, like when sometimes the little things come over, then that works as well. So like that's where the carbs are, is in the coffee grounds, in the dregs and the floaties and stuff in the coffee. So if you don't get that, then you're probably fine on the carbs. Yeah. She said she will never test carbs. She will never worry about any of that stuff. She's like, I'm not touching coffee. I love my coffee. Don't talk to me about coffee. and she gets to pick. I tried to do carnivore their way and it didn't work. You and me both. And you were referring to the allulose. Yep. I work with people who, like, literally the only thing that they overconsume is the allulose. And they have joint pain. They have this, they have that. So, as much as I would love to say it's all about the carbs, it's not all about the carbs. I tried to do, let me see. I did testing with Danny H. pylori as well. Glad you tested and you know what's going on. Yes, exactly. There's a point in time where, I mean, I'll keep going and get as good as I can, but knowing what's actually happening sometimes. I'm actually going to record with Dr. Boz again in July, a follow-up for protein and under eating and all of these other questions. I'm going to have her back on and I'm going to let her know what all of my diagnoses were and be like, so can ketosis handle most of this, or am I going to have to supplement a little bit? Because a lot of the protocols for healing some of this stuff is like massive doses of antibiotics. My immune system is already suppressed. I really don't want to do big doses of antibiotics. So we have some decisions to make, unfortunately. Let me see. Everyone has a different body where works for some, does not work for others, period. No one size fits all. In the workbook, Dr. Boz shows how to get Chronometer set to the proper protein requirements. It gives me a lower number than I got. I am actually going to do a video, another video on Chronometer, because it's the reason that it sets it lower is because you're in rigorous and they know you have weight to lose. So they reduce everything so that you are in a caloric restriction and you will lose weight. They're reducing the protein as well. So there is a way for you to go in and change it. You can customize your macros, set your carbs to 20 total, set your protein where you want it, and then fat. I always say try to double your protein intake, but that's not a cap. That's not a limit. That's an estimate. That's an average. So shoot for that. If you're full before that and you don't want to eat more fat, then fine. If you still are hungry after that, keep eating and just watch and see what your body does. So yeah, I think the Chronometer's number is not the best one to use. I prefer the 1 pound or the 1 kilogram of body weight to 1 gram of protein. So whatever your ideal optimal, not like what you want to weigh, but what your BMI chart says you should weigh. Your optimal weight divided by 2.2, your optimal weight in pounds divided by 2.2 is going to give you kilograms. That's how many grams of protein you're going to go for every single day. I really wanted to be able to eat meat until I was stuffed and thrive. Yeah. But I stalled for over a year. And when I went full on no plants, coffee, sweetener, spices, more pain developed. Yeah. Like I did not get better on full carnivore. You are not alone. They're so sneaky with the corn uses. Another reason to stay away from products. Real whole one origin food. Now, I will say this. Dr. Boz said this once. I would rather them make allulose than high fructose corn syrup. We're not ever going to be able to get away from the corn on this planet. Like they're going to use it for everything. And right now it's feeding a lot of our cows. So we're never going to be able to get rid of the corn. I would rather them make allulose than high fructose corn syrup. No questions asked. Hi, Steph. Let me see. Oh, come back. And I jumped. Let me go. Hi, Bonnie. Dr. Boz put out a YouTube on April 15th called 7 Best Keto Sweeteners to Use on the Keto Diet. I might have watched it. I might have. Yeah, that could be where she talks about the allulose. High protein didn't work for me either. After 2 weeks, my morning numbers are finally coming down. Good. Today, my Dr. Buzz ratio was 30. Yay! I'm so happy for you. That's awesome. Best way to find your limit is to test numbers. 100%. It really is. It depends on how nerdy you want to get. Go get stuffed and see if you're good. If you're not, lower the number. Coming out from meat-heavy keto carnivore, so many of us are. You are not alone. I work for an HMO and I cringe when I hear the consults they give to the diabetics. Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine having that job. I'd be like, no, I couldn't work there. I wouldn't be able to keep my mouth shut. Or I'd be like, oh, I have a YouTube channel. You should come watch me. Yeah. The skin doesn't hurt, gets cold, gets fat. Learned that from a Greek. That is so cool. Okay. Greek yogurt for every time you have a sunburn. Put Greek yogurt on it. I love it. That is fantastic. Tell your partner thank you. What is an HMO? It's insurance. Yeah, awesome. Yes. Oh, the coconut oil is sunscreen, Amy. Thank you. I'm in hot Arizona. I'm pale Irish. It works better than anything else ever. It's so good for your skin. It lets the vitamin D come through, which sunscreens don't do. Sunscreen, when you put it on, you end up with those chemicals in high concentrations in your blood system for like a week after you put sunscreen on. The reason I am so anti-sunscreen, like I am very anti-sunscreen. I used to work at a daycare when I lived in Arizona, ironically enough. Lived in Arizona, and we always had to put sunscreen on the kids before we went outside. And they all brought their own sunscreen. So I was getting this one kid, no, you don't fry your skin. You have to condition your skin. I need to make a video on that too. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. Okay. Tomorrow's what I eat in a day and how to do coconut oil sunscreen. Anyways, so I was putting the sunscreen on this kid, and he took his hands and he went like this and he rubbed it into his eyes on both of them. And I was like, no, don't rub your eyes. This kid, they went home that night, and the next day we got a phone call. He had gone blind. He went blind for 2 weeks because of the sunscreen that he got in his eyes. And at that point in time, I was like, okay, we have to find another alternative. I didn't have kids, but I knew that I was never going to put sunscreen on my children, and I was not going to use it on myself anymore, because if it had the potential to make a child go blind for 2 weeks, they didn't know that his vision was ever going to come back. And the optometrist was like, yeah, it happens sometimes. Sunscreen is pretty, that's why it says don't get it in your eyes. Keep it away from your face. But put sunscreen on your face because your face has, skin on it. It was terrifying. I was bawling. I was like, it's my fault. I shouldn't have let him do it. I mean, he's a flipping kid. He rubbed his eyes. I couldn't even, I stopped him, but it was too late. I felt so guilty. So that is when I began doing research on alternatives for sunscreen. And Pacific Islanders have been using coconut oil as that. And everyone says, oh, their skin is darker. Y'all, I've got some pasty children. Ridiculously, we are pasty people. We are so pale. And if you do it right, then it prevents you from burning. It lets the vitamin D come through. It's giving you really good saturated fat on your skin. And it's phenomenal. So what you do is you put it on. I use the spray coconut oil, y'all, like the cooking spray in the can. We take a can of coconut oil with us everywhere we go, because there's the spray on sunscreen. Then I'm not pulling out like my giant tub of coconut oil. I'll just pull it out, shake it up. I kind of have my hand over it. No one knows what it is. Spray it all over my kids. So you put your coconut oil on, you go outside for 5-10 minutes. You come inside. That's it for the day. The next day you go out for 15-20 minutes. And you keep doing that. You go in and out, and you condition your skin to be able to handle the rays of the sun with this barrier. Coconut oil has an SPF of like 8. So it's not a lot. You can also add things like red raspberry seed oil, carrot seed oil, and zinc. You can make your own little sunscreen bars with powdered zinc, the 2 other seed oils, and then the coconut oil. You can mix all that together, melt it, put it into molds, and use it like a bar and rub that on you. So if you're super, super, super sensitive to the sun, you could do the zinc powder as well. So there's all kinds of recipes for making your own sunscreen bars with coconut oil. I think some of them use like shea butter or cocoa butter as well. Fantastic. Works amazingly. I love the coconut oil just by itself straight out of the can, and it's been absolutely fantastic. Health maintenance organization. That's it. Ask her about the iodine, please. She has no videos on it. I don't know that she, yeah. And I'll have to ask her. What's up, baby? The oven is beeping?
I turned it off.
Do they need to be broiled?
I don't think so. They look rather crispy on top.
Oh, good. So then you can just pull them out. Thank you, love.
Sorry for interrupting.
No, I'm live. Totally fine.
Sorry for interrupting.
We're making chicken thighs. I actually need to check my numbers. I have decided, because of what I'm going through, and now I know what I'm fighting, and it can be some really interesting stuff that I'm fighting. I'm going to skip my numbers in the morning. Eventually my liver will be emptied out. That's fine. I don't matter. I don't care. I'm worried about getting into a deep state of ketosis. So I am now only measuring once a day just before I eat, not including my fatty coffees, because those are not kicking me out of ketosis. They are boosting my ketosis. Eventually, I'm sure I'm going to have to get rid of them. But for right now, it's working. So I actually have my stuff here. I figured I could check my numbers to show you guys what I'm doing. But that is what I'm checking now. I'm checking once a day just before, because I need to know that I got into a deep enough state of ketosis. I will put off eating. If I'm not in a deep enough state, I will fast longer and longer, because I need to know that I'm getting those good benefits that I need. Yes, I'm actually going to make a list right now. Protein, low cal, and iodine. Yeah, when I schedule with Angela, I'm going to have to ask her, can you schedule for like an hour and a half or 2 hours? Because there's a lot of stuff that people have questions about. And she and I end up talking for so long before and after. So I'll have to ask if I can, how much time can I get? High protein did not noticeably increase my glucose, but it seemed to have caused insulin levels to increase. Yeah, because protein, if you remember the charts, fat. So if we have, your hours here and then how much it's increased your insulin, fat barely bumps up the insulin because it doesn't take much insulin to process that fat. The protein is going to be significantly higher than the fat. Not to say that it's bad or even a spike, but it did raise your insulin. Carbs are way up here. Like, you need a lot of insulin to deal with the carbs, and then you crash back down very quickly. The protein goes, it's about halfway between the carbs and the fat. So depending on what you're doing and what you're going for and what your body needs, that insulin, that could be enough of a dose of insulin that it's harming your body. But what are you going for? It totally just absolutely depends. My body is seriously weird. My dirty, rotten, lying scale. I know. I love this. Wendy went from a size 18 pant to a size 10 pant and hasn't lost any weight at all. And she knows that her scale works because she's weighed her dogs on it. And she can tell that it's right. Isn't that crazy? It's so funny. Shelly says my A1C went up 9 months on carnivore. Mine did too. Mine absolutely went up 9 months. Yeah, when I was on carnivore, yeah, from 5.4 to 5.9, depending on who you listen to. Some say less fat and some say less protein. Experiment time, 100%. I love it. And it just jumped. Oh, come back. Come on. I am covered in coconut oil always, especially when sunbathing, and I've never burned. You're good. And I've never heard of anyone getting skin cancer from coconut oil. So, fantastic. Let me see. Regarding Chronometer, I had to set my macros with fixed values using the recommended amount of protein and then put 2 to 3 times the fat to protein ratio. Perfect. I'm more of a fan of that. I'm like, let's put in our own, because it keeps cutting it down more than I think it needs to be. I need to change my YouTube name. I'm Sammy, by the way. You know what's funny? Okay, so anybody who has a different name, a lot of you, I know what your real name is, but I don't say your real name because I'm not sure if you want people to know what your real name is, because I figure you don't use your real name for a reason. So even though I know what a lot of your real names are, I don't say that. I do know who you are. I don't say that because if you don't put your name out there, then I'm not going to put your name out there. Just so you guys know. Yeah. Let me see. Okay. Oh, I need to pull out chicken wings and chicken thighs. Okay, it's hard to see to type in here with the sun. Oh, I bet it's really hard. Yes, seriously, especially when the sun don't shine after having it. Oh, I hear something outside. Let me see. Oh, the conspiracy theory on the sunscreen. Sunscreen is I'm not a fan. Let me see. Okay, it keeps. Oh, yes, the coconut oil does hold up in the pool. Put it on like 5-10 minutes before you go in the water, and it soaks into your skin, and it's fantastic. It keeps jumping. So I'm just at the bottom now. You can put my name out there. Yeah, Marty, I tell everybody, Keto Carnivore Chief is one of my moderators in my Mighty Network. And I tell everybody about Marty. Not thundering here, but the jets keep flying over. It makes sense. The name thing. Yeah, we just hopped on YouTube a few years ago looking for RV videos and made up the name and never changed it. Yeah, 100%. I actually didn't want people to know my name. For the longest time, I was like, I don't want people to know what my name is, because you can Google someone and get their address, and you can Google and I was like, I don't want that. But now you can Google Carnivore's Angel and my name pops up. So fine. I am pioneering I don't even know how to say that word. Fasting approach. I'm trying to gain muscle. Ooh, very interesting. Yeah. Marty with an I. Yep. Marty. Actually, it's Martha. Martha. Yeah. I need to create our link for later, actually, because we have a business meeting for the Mighty Network. Let me see. 80s or 90s after food is gorgeous. 80 in the morning. Proper ketones. Oh, yeah. I need to check my stuff, don't I? I can't see. It keeps coming back no matter with the Epsom salt bath, etc. Oh, it might be a subcutaneous cyst. There's a point in time where you might have to go get something cut out. Yeah. Let me see. Yes. I'm going to do this because I haven't done it yet today. I had two fatty coffees. I adore my lemon water when I get up in the morning before my coffee. Now I'm not sure if I should check your numbers and see. And that's one of the things that Dr. Boz has said in one of her videos is that if you don't consume more than 7 grams of carbs in one sitting, then it generally won't raise your insulin, because 7 grams of carbs worth of sugar is about what is usually floating around in your bloodstream. So if you do that, today I actually did communion at church. So I had the little gluten-free rice wafer and I had the tablespoon of grape juice. That was with my coffee, in between my coffees. So we'll see what my numbers are. Oh, and someone said that I should wipe off the first drop of blood. So I'm going to wipe off the first drop of blood. I've been doing that because someone said wipe off the first drop. So first drop wiped off. Second drop has been excreted. So now it's going to yell at me and tell me that I'm hypoglycemic. I'm fine, by the way. Thank you for worrying about me. So that was 66. I put my other little one in there. Yes, I wiped it. I did it. I wiped the first drop. I was good. And people are setting off fireworks outside. Next. And look, I wiped it off with a cloth so I don't make anybody sick. Okay, 3.8. Yesterday, my number was like 5 point something. So that gives me a Dr. Boz ratio of just over 17. So I have achieved my less than 20. And part of that could be because I did the little that I had communion today. My numbers were higher yesterday. Or it could just be a whole bunch of who knows what. Seriously. I got into my extremely therapeutic ketosis. Got my toe down in there. So now I will go downstairs and I'm going to eat. I think today we were going through. Good morning, Annabella. I was waiting for you to get up. I was like, I wonder if she's going to make it. I think I'm going to do crab today. We're going through the freezers and like cleaning out the freezers because I only have a couple of months to go until I start processing all of the venison. And we are probably going to end up with a lot of venison again this year. I'm going to save even more of it because I ran out. And now I have to actually like give my dogs food. It's ridiculous. So we're cleaning out our freezers right now. And I found crab, like little soft shell crabs that were in there. So I'm going to have that with a ton of butter. I'm sure that I'm going to do some form of egg yolk waffles. I thought about putting on like butter and a little bit of Parmesan and garlic powder. I am doing dairy, but I'm not doing a ton of dairy. Like I'm doing the harder stuff. Cream cheese doesn't make me feel great. Heavy whipping cream knocks me out. My body is stressed enough, so I'm good. So yeah. Oh, my venison. Okay. So on my channel, like way back, there is a stuffed backstrap recipe. It is incredible. It is so good. And I cannot even. And then venison enchiladas. They are to die for. So those are the 2 venison recipes that I have in there. Seriously, go try them. They are amazing. So yeah, they're absolutely fantastic. So yeah, I would say, Carmen, check your numbers to see if you want to do your lemon water in the morning. If it's not raising anything, if you're just fine, then don't worry about it. Otherwise, maybe move it to nighttime. I don't know. I used 2 different names in 2 different profile pics. Originally, I didn't want my name used for comments other than YouTube videos. Yes. So, well, if you guys are just going to tell me everybody's names, then look at all this mess. I guess I should put my stuff away, huh? I put my stuff away. More cleanup. I left a mess. That goes there. That goes there. Listen to you while I drove to my holiday party. Thank you for your hubby service. Oh, yes. They said thank you, my darling. Okay, catching up. Whoop. There we go. Dr. Boz. She would be proud of me. Hi, Amy. This is my first live. Hi, Tina. I'm impressed with your Dr. Boz ratio. What step are you on in the keto continuum? That's actually a really good question. I'm on step it kind of depends. I'm kind of a hodgepodge of steps right now. The reason I say that is because I drink the fatty coffees in the morning, and that does technically count as a meal. So I drink 2 of those, and then I eat once a day. And then if I want some waffles later or a bedtime tea, I will eat that later. So I literally consume calories for right now 12 hours a day. I will wake up in the morning and I will have my fatty coffee with then just a little bit of waking up. And then I will stop eating or drinking any calories. It's about 12 hours later. And so I'm definitely not, I'm in the 20 total or less, but I eat way more than 6 to 8 hours. So honestly, I could say that I'm not like the first level, but my numbers are absolutely fantastic. So I'm going to ride this whole fatty coffee, fatty bedtime tea as long as I can until I have to start doing the actual fasting and things like that. Yeah. So I consume calories for 12 hours, but a lot of it is fat. Most of it is fat. Let me see. Backstrap rosemary, garlic stuffed roast is amazing too. I love rosemary. I don't use enough of it, honestly. How about organic heavy whipping cream? I've tried the heavy whipping cream. It's organic. It has absolutely nothing else in it except for creams and none of the gums, nothing like that. It just completely exhausts me. So for now, and now that I've seen my immune markers and I've seen all this other stuff, something that I'm eating is pissing off my system. I don't know what. Don't worry, you will get there. Numbers should always be taken without having drinks or food beforehand. Yes, my ketones were that high because I had a lot of fat. So in the morning, when I was testing in the morning, before I was eating or waiting to test until just before and consuming all the fat beforehand. I need to do it. So this one was in the morning. This one was at 7:25 in the morning on the 27th. My glucose was 84, a little high, and my ketones were 3.6. So I generally still have the really good ketone numbers in the morning as well, which is why I switched to just doing it just before I eat to make sure that I'm gotten into a really good Dr. Boz ratio, because I don't have the money to test twice a day with the strips. And then the day after that, my glucose was 77 and my ketones were 3.5. The day after that, my glucose was 83, my ketones were 3.3. So I have really good ketone numbers consistently all the time right now. And I know that all the fat that I'm taking in is absolutely helping. Okay, there we go. So as of right now, it says that I am in the highest therapeutic level of ketosis. It's funny when you click on it, it says that this is very difficult to achieve without doctor's supervision. So, and the reason that Dr. Boz says that you need to work with a provider when you're going to go down into these really deep states of ketosis is because in the beginning, sure, you can get great numbers really easy, but you're going to have to eventually do the longer fasts. You're going to have to potentially calorie restrict, things like that. And you should be working with your doctor when you're doing that. My fasting numbers are still all over the place, but in the afternoon, I rock it. Oh, yeah, I know. In the afternoon, it's fantastic. In the morning, my fasting numbers can still be up in the high 80s. So I know that I'm still popping glycogen bubbles from my liver. I know that I was adding fat to my liver. Richard and I went and got our scans, our CAC scans. They did our organs as well, and he was diagnosed with a fatty liver. Now we know why. Too much protein. Too many glycogen bubbles. I gave myself permission to have a second fatty coffee outside of my meal, but kept telling myself I don't need it. For me, I want all the fat possible to get my ketones up as much as possible. And so far it's working. So I am just going to keep doing it until it stops working, and then I will adjust. My ketones don't go above 1. Now I know I need to be patient and make sure that you're getting enough fat. For some people, it's because they're still restricting their fat, and that's why they can't make the ketones. And they're like, well, I'm not hungry. Find a way to get in some more fat. And for some people, literally, that is all it takes. And then they have fantastic ketone numbers. Is the tea made the same way as the fatty coffee? For the tea, I do 1 tablespoon of butter, 1 tablespoon of coconut oil. The reason I like those and not the MCT oil is because between the butter and the coconut oil, you're going to get all 3 lengths of the fatty acids. So you're going to get short chain triglycerides, medium chain triglycerides, and long chain triglycerides. All of those are burned at different times in different ways and turned into ketones differently. The shorts and the mediums are actually able to go directly from your stomach through a little trap door over to your liver to be converted into ketones really, really, really quickly, super fast. So that's like jet fuel. It's going to go in there. It's going to get converted really quickly, and you're going to have those ketones for hours. Then the long chain triglycerides, they have to go all the way through your entire digestive system before they finally end up at the liver to be turned into ketones. So when you drink the combination of those fats at night, it's going to cover me all night long with good amounts of ketones because I'm doing the butter that has the shorter chains, and then the coconut has some mediums. It's only like 15% medium chain triglycerides, but the butter has a lot of short chain triglycerides. And then the long chains, there's like 85% of coconut oil is long chain triglycerides. So those are the ones that are going to hit my system 6 to 8 hours later and go, oh, here's some more ketones. So that could be one of the reasons that I have really good numbers. So do I have any problems eating high fat? I get a little queasy. It depends on what I'm eating. When I'm doing the high fat, I will reach a point. Last night, so yesterday, we drove down to Iowa to go pick up the kids and came back. Every time I've ever driven down to go get the kids, I have always eaten 4 slices of this big old giant salami with 1 slice of a hard cheddar in the middle. It's the Sargento aged white cheddar. And I would eat 5 of those, probably, of those combos, like the entire package of salami, the entire thing, because I have been just topping my body so full of fat lately. I got through 1 1/4 of those. And I was like, I cannot have another bite. I will vomit. Like I can't, because my stores have gotten completely full. So now I am struggling a little bit to get more of the fat in, which is why I really like using the Yolk waffles, because those I'm able to still eat and get my fat up and not get queasy. So the Yolk waffles are really kind of like my trick to everything. And then the bedtime tea as well. That one, I'll only make 8 ounces of tea with my vanilla chamomile, and then I'll put those 2 fats into it. Sometimes I'll do a couple drops of stevia, but that also does not, probably because of the stevia, I am able to drink it. So the best recipe for the egg yolk waffles, I do 2 yolks, but that is because my girls give me majorly huge yolks. So you may need 3 yolks, but it's just the yolks. You're going to put that with 1 tablespoon of melted butter and 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. You don't have to use the baking powder if you don't want to. You could use baking soda, or you could skip it altogether. Some people don't do any baking anything, and it's perfectly fine. So you're going to mash that up together and then put it into your waffle maker. You can turn them into pancakes, or you can, there's all those fun little, things that you can turn them into, waffle sticks and stuff like that. But yeah, so that is my favorite recipe for those. If you wanted to have some sweet ones, you could add some maple extract to it for the flavor. You could put some sweeteners in it. Be careful, the swerve and the allulose will make it brown, like really, really, really brown. So I usually don't put them in. I'll put them on top if I'm going to do like a cinnamon sugar, but you could do cinnamon in them as well. Or you could do like some little chocolate nibs. Then you could also, for a savory one for buns, you could do a little bit of like cheddar cheese, Italian seasoning, garlic, onion, anything like that to give them more flavor because they're very plain. They do not have a lot of flavor at all. Please explain why high ketone numbers are important when and if glucose numbers are low. So when you're in ketosis, most of the time you do not end up getting hypoglycemic symptoms when your glucose goes that low because your body is flooded with fuel. A lot of people, when they end up having hypoglycemia and it's got the symptoms and all of the side effects from it, it's because they have no fuel. There is no blood sugar and there's no ketones. So for a lot of people, you'll have really high ketones. And then I remember in California when I was doing my CGM, my blood sugar numbers, and the CGM is a little bit different because it's the interstitial fluid, not your blood values. So it is a little bit different, but I would get glucose readings of 50s, very low 60s, and it would alert and tell me, hey, you're hypoglycemic. It's like, but I'm not because I'm in ketosis. So that's the difference between, and honestly, that seems to be the difference for almost everything. Like if you don't eat enough protein, you're going to lose muscle unless you're in ketosis, and then it's protective. And if you don't do this because of this, then this is going to happen unless you're in ketosis, and then you're good. So it kind of, it kind of depends. Ketosis is protective for so many things, and it's just really cool. But you could also not be ping pong. Ping means new subject, pong means going back to an old subject. You could not be processing your fat very well. You may need digestive enzymes if you have not been high fat in the past and you're working your way up. Yes, you're very welcome. Yeah, okay, I'm catching up. Tina says my ketones do not go above 1. Oh yeah, we already read that one. Oh, you ate too many carbs, Annabella. Those darn carbs. It's terrible. Cassandra says, I think they taste like Eggo waffles. I think so too. Especially when you add a little bit of the maple syrup in there and the cinnamon. So good. And then it tastes like an Eggo waffle. And I'm not even going to lie, I will put a tablespoon of butter on top of that and then sprinkle it with some allulose. I measure it out. It's like a 1/4 teaspoon of allulose, which is, I don't know, probably like 15 carbs. No, I'm just kidding. It's not that much. But I will sprinkle a 1/4 teaspoon of allulose on top of that, and I will have my cinnamon sugar waffles. And they are to die for. They're so good. Let me see. How much is allulose? I'm going to look up allulose. Allulose. I actually check both. I like check all of them. Oh man, they're giving it to me in grams. There we go. 0.2. No. 0.25 teaspoons is 1 carb for the allulose. Those darn carbs. I'm sorry, honey. Yeah, in Chronometer it says 1 total carb for a 1/4 teaspoon. I don't know. We'll see if it's accurate or not. I noticed Dr. Boz seems to have stricter definition of ketosis than most people. What's her threshold of being in ketosis? So it's a lot of it has to do with the ratio of your blood sugar to your ketones, because a lot of people will say 0.5, anything above 0.5 means that you're technically in ketosis, which is why she adds the glucose in there, because it's the ratio between the two that gives you an idea of what your insulin is doing. And your insulin is really a better predictor of, your inflammation, whether or not you're in an active state of autophagy or ketosis. So 0.5 would be the correct answer. That is technically you're making ketones, but just because you're making ketones doesn't mean that you're utilizing those ketones for fuel. You could still be burning sugar while still making some ketones. I mean, when I was carnivore, I checked my numbers a couple of times. I was gaining weight. My numbers were going up. My glucose numbers were going up, but I still had ketones of like 0.3, 0.5, 0.7. So I was like, oh, I'm in ketosis. That's why she created the ratio. You take your glucose, you divide it by your ketones, and that it gives you an idea of what your insulin is doing. So almost everybody that is like trying to be healthy, and we say, we're carnivore or I'm, ketovore, I'm sure I'm in ketosis. When you do that ratio and you divide it, anything over like 80, if that number is over 80, that's not really in ketosis because of what your blood sugar numbers are doing. If your blood sugar is higher, then your insulin is going to have to be higher. And if your insulin is higher, then you're not going to get into ketosis. It's just physiology. It's chemistry. You cannot, you can't tell yourself, oh yeah, I'm in ketosis because I have 0.5 or 0.7. Depending on what your blood sugar numbers are doing. So it's all about the ratio of what that is. And I like looking at the ratio because some people say that 0.1 is in ketosis. They say that because you're making ketones, but there's a difference between making ketones and being in ketosis. In ketosis is you were only running on those ketones, or 75% of running on ketones, or it's a little bit different. So you can make them and not really use them, or you can, there's a lot of different things. That's why I like Dr. Baugh's ratios, because when I'm using her ratios, it works. When I use other people's ratios, it doesn't work. I gain weight, I gain inflammation, and a whole bunch of other crap apparently. I left out a word. I make my dietitian happen. So question, Annabella, if you tell them, you had waffles, that'd make them happy, right? Then they would think you were eating carbs, but they're my waffles, so there's no carbs, or, like very minimal carbs. You could plug it in as an Eggo waffle, and that's actually my waffle. Just saying. Could be a little sneaky. Muscle protection starts around ketones of 0.7. Very interesting. I actually was not sure about that. Oh, my roosters apparently are happy. Eating disorder recovery can suck. I eat the carbs and make my dietitian, and then I felt ill, and now I'm going to defrost some minced meat. I'm going to eat beef, bacon, butter, and eggs. I'm telling you, girl, make my waffles and mark them down as Eggo waffles. Just for kicks and giggles. Let me see. Catching up. So since I went low protein, high fat, my old hypoglycemic symptoms came back. My body needed more protein. And yes, 100% added that back. Keeping my fat high, but I remain having to do the 3 meals to abate the nausea. Yes, figuring out what's going to work for you. That is absolutely the key. Give her the book, Dietitian's Dilemma. I think I've heard of that. I haven't read it though. My psychotropic artificially raises my glucose. Yeah, that sucks. Does that mean that they have been keeping me out of ketosis? Yes, it can mean that. Because artificially or not, if your glucose is elevated, it has to bring up your insulin because of that. And because of that, it suppresses ketosis. To what extent? It's different for everybody. The Michelle Hearn Dietitian's Dilemma, very important book on that topic. I need to write that down. My hand is cold too. I need to go eat. Yeah, my hands are cold. So, no. Get rid of it. You're too honest. That's my husband. He cannot lie to save his life. Like, he can't lie at all. He's so honest. So honest. He like tries to lie and the little corners of his mouth go up. I'm like, baby, come on. So no, he wouldn't be able to lie either. He's glaring at me right now.
Giving away my talent.
I'm giving away your secrets, my
How am
darling.
I supposed to play poker? Give away all my talents.
You were never a good poker player. Look up Dr. Palmer
Because I
and
can't
prepare to have your
lie.
mind blown. Be safe. Interesting. Dr. Isn't that the one that Dr. Barry had on just recently? That Dr. Palmer? Michelle Hearn has an eating disorder and turned dietitian, healed with keto. Fantastic. Okay, yeah, the one that people have been telling me I need to contact him and ask him to come on to my. I need to send him the doctor turned me in video. Be like, you want to come talk? Hi. Pity's book doesn't come out until November. Okay, it's been like an hour and 25 minutes, so I should go make myself some crab because it's thawed out and I need to make it or it's going to go bad, and I don't want to waste any food right now because holy prices, Batman. Absolutely crazy. Yeah, so I'm going to go eat. Hopefully I got to most of your guys' questions. If I missed something, feel free to post it again and again and again and again and again. Put it in like bold letters so that I will. My hubby's adorable. I love my hubby. He's been in a couple of my videos. The pork belly one. He's on the thumbnail of that one, actually. Yeah, he's a goofball. Yeah, so it was very cool to hang out with you guys. Thank you for joining me. Have a fantastic 4th of July. And stay safe. Don't overdo the carbs. Lie to your dietitian. No, I'm just kidding. I love you. Yeah, I do. So I'll see you guys on Thursday. Yeah, I want to. Sorry, you're going to have to watch the replay. Yeah. Oh, yes. And please go leave a like for the video. Please and thank you. I love you guys. And I will talk to you later. Bye, guys.